What if the mastermind behind the dark web's most notorious marketplace, Silk Road, wasn't as untouchable as he thought? Ross Ulbricht, known as Dread Pirate Roberts, paid over $1 million in Bitcoin to eliminate threats. But here's the twist. The murders never happened. He got conned, outplayed, and scammed by a story so wild it feels like fiction. How did the king of the dark web lose it all? Stick around, this tale will leave you stunned. For over 1,500 years, the vast Eurasian trade routes, stretching more than 4,000 miles, played a pivotal role in fostering economic, cultural, political, and religious exchanges between the East and West. The name Silk Road originates from the highly coveted silk textiles, predominantly produced in China, that were transported along these routes. This association with high-value goods likely inspired Ross Ulbricht, also known as Dread Pirate Roberts, to adopt the same name for his infamous online marketplace on the dark web. Unlike the ancient trade of silk, however, Ulbricht's version facilitated the exchange of illicit goods and services. On January 27, 2011, an intriguing post appeared online. I came across this website called Silk Road. It's a Tor hidden service that claims to let you buy and sell anything anonymously. I'm considering trying it out, but wanted to see if anyone else has heard of it or can recommend it. Here's the link if you have a Tor browser. Let me know what you think. This post, authored by a user named Altoid, marked the first public mention of Silk Road. Disguising himself as an uninvolved observer, Altoid attempted to generate word-of-mouth marketing for what was clearly his own venture. However, rather than a subtle clue, this action was more akin to leaving a glaring trail for investigators. IRS Special Agent Gary Alford revealed that the key to uncovering the mastermind behind Silk Road was shockingly simple: a Google search. Despite being accessible only through Tor, a browser used to explore the dark web, Silk Road needed some form of public promotion. Searching for Silk Road alongside .onion led Alford to Altoid's posts on Bitcoin forums. These posts sought IT professionals for a Bitcoin-backed startup and included an email address: rosselbricht@gmail.com. Using one's real name in connection with such a clandestine operation proved a catastrophic mistake. This connection gave authorities sufficient cause to obtain a warrant for the email account. Over time, surveillance tracked Ross Ulbricht to the San Francisco Public Library, where undercover agents apprehended him. With his laptop open, investigators discovered not only his logged-in Silk Road administrator account, but also a detailed journal chronicling the site's creation, complete with his real name. During his trial in New York City, prosecutors presented a 33-page document containing damning evidence. Messages showing Ulbricht had paid over $1 million in Bitcoin to hire individuals associated with the Hells Angels to carry out life-taking. One of the key characters in this saga was Friendly Chemist, who initiated direct contact with Dread Pirate Roberts, claiming urgent matters involving the identities of top vendors and thousands of customers. On March 13, 2013, Friendly Chemist's message conveyed a dire situation. He alleged that Lucidrop, an LSD vendor on Silk Road, owed him a substantial amount and had defaulted on payment. Claiming to be Lucidrop's supplier, Friendly Chemist vowed to release sensitive data unless he was paid $500,000. In response, Dread Pirate Roberts denied involvement with Lucidrop and attempted to defuse the situation by verifying the legitimacy of these claims. Tensions escalated when Friendly Chemist provided a list of thousands of customer identities, along with vendor details, as proof of his claims. Though Dread Pirate Roberts sought to investigate further, Friendly Chemist grew increasingly agitated, citing threats from creditors. Meanwhile, an account claiming to be real Lucidrop surfaced, alleging that he had been imprisoned for months and that his business partner had stolen the operation, cutting him out entirely. A business partner, allegedly impersonating the vendor Lucidrop, had begun exploiting the reputation built under the Lucidrop account by selling subpar products and engaging in fraudulent activities. This individual, pretending to be Lucidrop, eventually sought contact with Dread Pirate Roberts, DPR. Upon noticing this development, DPR directly messaged the account, asking, "How did this person gain access to your account?" The reply, from someone identifying as real Lucidrop, clarified that access wasn't stolen. Instead, the account was co-managed by two partners in real life. Real Lucidrop explained that he had been arrested on a warrant for previous drug charges, leaving the other partner in control of the operation. He further confirmed that Friendly Chemist was indeed their middleman for sourcing products. Real Lucidrop ended his message by asking DPR a pointed question. How do you know Friendly Chemist? This question marked a significant misstep. DPR had never mentioned Friendly Chemist to Real Lucidrop. If the Lucidrop account had been stolen by a business partner for over 6 months, Real Lucidrop should not have known about the recent interactions involving Friendly Chemist. This inconsistency raised immediate suspicion. To clarify the players and timeline thus far, Lucidrop was a vendor accused of scamming and had yet to respond to any messages. Dread Pirate Roberts, as the Silk Road administrator, was dealing with blackmail from Friendly Chemist, who claimed to be Lucidrop's supplier and a middleman for dangerous individuals demanding repayment. Meanwhile, Real Lucidrop had emerged, claiming to be the original account owner, recently released from prison. DPR, seeking to protect his operation, informed Real Lucidrop of the blackmail and requested any identifying details about Friendly Chemist. However, Real Lucidrop was apprehensive. I don't feel comfortable with that. He knows my identity, and if anything happens, it could incriminate me as well. Real Lucidrop proposed a meeting with Friendly Chemist to negotiate instead, to which DPR replied, "Okay, Lucy, do me proud." A day later, Real Lucidrop returned with concerning information. Friendly Chemist's blackmails were genuine, and the individuals he owed money to were connected to a major criminal organization in Canada, the Hells Angels. A potential solution was proposed. DPR could pay Friendly Chemist's debt in exchange for product shipments to be sold on Silk Road, generating revenue to cover the costs. Additionally, Friendly Chemist offered to disclose his identity as collateral. DPR, however, rejected the proposal. "Give me his identity so I can take control of the situation. You're not equipped to handle this." Real Lucidrop hesitated, fearing that Friendly Chemist, if cornered, might cooperate with authorities and implicate him. He warned, "Persuading him won't work. The people he owes already know where he lives and where his kids go to school. I can't risk this escalating." DPR responded decisively, "Do not contact me again unless you provide his identity. I will not be blackmailed, and you clearly don't know how to handle this." Eventually, Real Lucidrop relented, agreeing to share Friendly Chemist's identity while expressing his unease. "I hope you understand my hesitation. This is my freedom on the line." He asked how to securely send the information, and DPR provided a PGP key, commonly used for encrypted communication on the dark web. Real Lucidrop complied, but the initial information lacked key details, prompting DPR to request the full address. On March 25th, 12 days after the first exchange between Friendly Chemist and DPR, a new player entered the narrative, Red and White. Their first message stated, "We were asked to contact you. We are the individuals Friendly Chemist owes money to. He alone is responsible for the missing product or funds." Red and White sought clarity on the situation, and DPR explained that he was being blackmailed and did not owe any money himself. He proposed, "Why not sell your products on our marketplace? You could dominate with your pricing." Red and White expressed interest, asking how much revenue they could generate on Silk Road. They also confirmed that Friendly Chemist had avoided meeting them out of fear and that the missing $700,000 complicated their potential involvement in Silk Road's operations. DPR attempted to incentivize them further. "If you capture Friendly Chemist or recover the debt, I'll ensure your marketplace presence is highly profitable." In parallel, DPR pressured Real Lucidrop for the complete address of Friendly Chemist, offering a Bitcoin reward. Meanwhile, Red and White revealed they had already apprehended Friendly Chemist's partner, Gene, and were actively searching for Friendly Chemist. DPR responded enthusiastically, "That's great news about Gene. From what I understand, he is responsible for your losses." At this point, it was revealed that Gene was the partner of Real Lucidrop, who had allegedly usurped control of the Lucidrop account and orchestrated scams. Jin's connection to Friendly Chemist implicated him in the $700,000 debt owed to Red and White. At this stage, Red and White clarified a critical update in the situation. Their missing product was no longer an issue. "We've recovered all the stolen goods," they revealed, explaining that their interrogation of Jean, Lucidrop's former partner, uncovered his plans to flee the country and set up a new seller account on Silk Road. "We don't tolerate theft," they added, ominously stating, "He's gone." The disappearance of Jean escalated Friendly Chemist's panic. Knowing his partner had been captured and eliminated, he ramped up his demands. "You leave me no choice," he wrote. "I want $500,000 within 72 hours, or I'll expose all the information I have." He claimed to have relocated his wife and children due to safety concerns, demanding the funds to secure their future. "What's it going to be?" he pressed. DPR attempted to defuse the situation, urging him to remain calm. "Don't do anything foolish," he replied. "The people you owe money to have reclaimed their losses. I've spoken to them, and they're considering becoming vendors on Silk Road. You should also move on and return to your life." However, this response only heightened Friendly Chemist's despair. "You think I don't know what they did to Jean?" he retorted. "You don't understand these people. My life is over." He reiterated his blackmail, shortening the deadline to 63 hours. Despite the tension, DPR's response remained surprisingly composed. "Do me a favor and make it 96 hours. I'll get back to you on Monday," he wrote, adding that he had big plans for the weekend. But his plans didn't involve ignoring the blackmail. They centered on removing it entirely. Immediately after stalling Friendly Chemist, DPR contacted Red and White. "I hate to burden you with a problem," he began, "but Blake, also known as Friendly Chemist, is creating issues. Are you still looking for him? Or have you stopped after recovering your losses with Jean? I'd like to discuss placing a bounty on him. What would it cost to motivate your help?" Red and White expressed willingness to negotiate. While they were no longer searching for Friendly Chemist, they could be persuaded with the right financial incentive. DPR, weighing his options, considered a less extreme solution. "If you can locate him, that might be enough to scare him off," he suggested. But Red and White warned against half measures. "If we find him and you scare him, he'll simply go underground. It'll be much harder to track him down later," they advised, steering DPR toward a permanent resolution. DPR clarified his reasoning. "He owes me nothing directly," he explained, "but his blackmail affects the anonymity of thousands of my clients, something I cannot tolerate. Anonymity is sacred on Silk Road." Red and White presented two options: a clean job for $300,000 or a less thorough approach for $150,000 to $200,000. These fees covered the costs of 2 professional operatives, including travel expenses. DPR pushed back on the pricing. "Not long ago, I arranged a clean hit for $80,000. Are these rates negotiable?" he asked. Red and White, understanding DPR's urgency, stood firm. "A rush job like this usually costs more. In the interest of our future relationship, I'll lower it to $150,000, but no less." Realizing the time constraints left him with few alternatives, DPR agreed. "Thank you, Red and White," he replied. "I've only commissioned one other job like this, so I'm still learning. I trust you'll handle it well." He transferred 1,670 Bitcoin, equivalent to $150,000 at the time, and provided specific instructions for photographic proof of the completed task. "Here are some random numbers for verification," he added. The blockchain confirmed the transaction, leaving no doubt that DPR had hired Red and White to eliminate Friendly Chemist. This decision, driven by the blackmail, showcased DPR's relentless determination to protect Silk Road's integrity and his vision of an anonymous marketplace. The lengths he was willing to go underscored the high-stakes world of the dark web, where trust and reputation were as fragile as they were invaluable. On April 1st, 2013, Red and White responded to DPR with a significant update. "Your problem has been taken care of." They elaborated that during the operation, they had seized several items from Friendly Chemist, including laptops and USB drives, and asked if any of it might belong to DPR. They also revealed new details gleaned during Friendly Chemist's interrogation. He confessed that he and Jean had been collaborating on a scheme to extort DPR and that their operation had been orchestrated by a third party. an experienced scammer who had been active on Silk Road for years. This individual specialized in creating seller accounts, establishing trust by providing exceptional service, and then executing large-scale scams before vanishing. Red and White promised to share this individual's identity once they obtained further information from the seized hardware. DPR responded professionally, expressing relief that the immediate fears were eliminated and curiosity about this mysterious third party. The next day, Red and White provided a detailed account of Friendly Chemist's revelations. The mastermind was identified as Andrew from Surrey, a fraudster who had been defrauding buyers on Silk Road for years using accounts such as Nip Suck Canuck and Tony76. This strategy of cultivating trust and then executing exit scams had reportedly stolen thousands of Bitcoin, undermining Silk Road's reputation. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit, connecting Andrew to Gene, Friendly Chemist, and their years-long scams that had eroded DPR's vision for Silk Road. Red and White also offered proof of Friendly Chemist's elimination in the form of a photograph, stripped of any location data for security reasons. DPR confirmed receipt of the image but deleted it for safety. With this chapter closed, his focus shifted to Andrew. However, DPR remained cautious, stating, "I'd rather miss the chance to confront him than harm an innocent person." His goal was not only to eliminate Andrew but also to interrogate him, potentially recovering some of the stolen Bitcoin, which he believed could amount to tens of thousands. Red and White began reconnaissance immediately, reporting back later that day with significant findings. They had identified Andrew's residence, which he shared with 3 accomplices. These individuals were all involved in selling products and managing their fraudulent operations. The intel suggested that the group might be sitting on over 20,000 Bitcoin, worth approximately $2 million at the time. Red and White asked DPR, "Do you want to proceed with Andrew alone, or should we address the entire group?" DPR initially favored having Andrew in mind alone, reasoning that this would minimize costs. However, Red and White cautioned that leaving the accomplices untouched would allow the scam operation to continue. To incentivize a broader action, they offered a package deal: $500,000 for all 4 individuals or $150,000 for Andrew alone. This offer included a 50-50 split of any recovered Bitcoin or assets. After some deliberation, DPR conceded, replying, "I'll defer to your judgment and hope we can recover some assets." On April 8, 2013, DPR finalized the deal, transferring 3,000 Bitcoin, valued at $498,000, to the same wallet used for the earlier payment for Friendly Chemist's elimination. 3 days later, on April 11, 2013, Red and White contacted DPR with an update on the operation. "Our team has been monitoring the house, and we have a 1-week window to execute the plan," they stated. However, Red and White brought up a pressing issue: the volatile Bitcoin market. The value of Bitcoin had plummeted to $61 each before they could convert their earnings into cash, leaving them significantly shortchanged. To address this, they requested additional Bitcoin to cover the shortfall. DPR assured them he would make up the difference, smoothing over the issue. After this exchange, communication between the two paused for 3 days until Red and White returned with confirmation. "That problem has been taken care of. I'll reach out with details when I catch you online. Just wanted you to know so you can rest easier." Beyond this, the dialogue between DPR and Red and White fizzled out, marking the end of their correspondence. The saga of Ross Ulbricht, also known as Dread Pirate Roberts, is one of the most extraordinary stories of the digital age. At the beginning of this account, 6 life-taking plots were mentioned, but so far only 5 have been detailed: Friendly Chemist and the 4 individuals in the house. What about the 6th? This plot, for which DPR allegedly paid $80,000, was entirely separate. It targeted a former Silk Road employee and was later revealed to be orchestrated by an undercover DEA agent. Now, here's the twist. None of the 5 life-taking actually occurred. According to evidence presented at Ross Ulbricht's trial, none of the supposed targets ever existed. DPR had been duped, though he likely never realized this until the federal investigation unraveled the truth. Red and White, DPR's supposed Hells Angels contact, fabricated the entire narrative, extracting $650,000 in Bitcoin under false pretenses. Despite the fabricated life-taking, DPR continued to communicate with Red and White through encrypted instant messaging. As federal agents later discovered in Ross's meticulous journal, he recorded that he loaned $500,000 to Red and White to start vending on Silk Road. However, in a later entry, Ross lamented that Red and White flaked out and disappeared with my $500,000. Altogether, Ross Ulbricht lost $1.15 million in Bitcoin to a scammer who had masterfully crafted a web of deception. By capitalizing on Silk Road users' speculation about connections between Tony76 and Lucidrop, as well as exploiting DPR's intense commitment to protecting the marketplace, the scammer spun an intricate and convincing narrative. They introduced realistic blackmail, paired them with solutions, and manipulated DPR's motivations to keep the scheme alive. Although Ross was never charged for life-taking plots that never transpired, the verifiable Bitcoin transactions from his wallet to Red and White's proved his involvement. Ultimately, Ross was convicted on 7 counts, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and computer hacking. He received a sentence of 30 years to life in prison, where he remains to this day. As for the Bitcoin, Ross's total loss amounted to 7,225 BTC, which would be valued at $308 million as of April 10, 2022. During a subsequent investigation, authorities discovered that transactions from Red and White's Bitcoin wallet were linked to another Silk Road account, Mary Jane Is My Muse, both of which were tied to a Canadian Bitcoin exchange registered under the name James Ellingson. The Silk Road is riddled with tales of intrigue and deception, but this one, where a supposed criminal mastermind fell victim to an elaborate scam, stands out as one of the most unbelievable chapters in its history. Ross Ulbricht's downfall proves that even the most powerful can be deceived. The Silk Road saga is a haunting tale of ambition, betrayal, and an empire built on shadows. Do you think his mistakes sealed his fate, or was he destined to lose it all? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story fascinating, don't miss our next deep dive into the most daring digital heists of all time. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a moment here. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.